Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, in this video, we're going to be looking at Holy Priest. So, Holy Priest is the traditional healer of WoW, almost the OG of healers when you really think about it. When you think of fantasy games, you really quickly jump to some stereotypical kind of classes. You think of the warrior, you think of the knight, you think of the rogue, the hunter, typically the priest, the Holy Priest, the healer of the team, the support. And they are the kings, or they certainly were the kings of throughput healing at different times in the game's history. Um, so let's get into the different categories. So, fun. I've loved Holy Priest across many of the expansions, and I've never really mained them, but I've always enjoyed having one just there to play. And they've reworked when they reworked Holy, and I'm not actually sure when it was. I can't remember what it was, but they reworked Holy to having this focus on these empowered holy word spells. So Serenity, Sanctity, and Sanctify, maybe? I'm not sure. But they have these three empowered holy word spells, and their kit is built around making these spells very impactful constantly. And for me, that's just not the gameplay I like. I used to like the prayer of mending spam on like using it on cooldown, the circle of healing, just healing a full group up, prayer of healing being broken but also costing like half your mana pool. And that might be nostalgia for me, and that might be where I'm struggling to move on from that. But yeah, for me, they're just not quite as fun as they used to be. I think if you're going to get the most out of Holy Priest in terms of you're going to main it, it's going to be your spec, you know everything about it, it can be amazing. And I think you'll get a lot out of this spec in terms of performance and just fun if you really do take the time to learn all the different intricacies of the class. I think it's actually one of the most complicated healers now. So let's talk about viability. Holy Priests were a very, very popular priest spec prior to 10.0.5, and I think it's only now that Disc is kind of trying to find its feet that there may be a challenge to that. In Mythic Plus raiding, in Mythic raiding, they were the fourth best healer sitting in the middle of the pack, and the third most represented healer. So people were really enjoying playing them. In Heroic raiding, they were the third best healer and third most popular, and we're still waiting to see kind of what the changes to Disc does to Holy Priest. Obviously, at the top of the meters at the moment, there's a lot more people playing Disc just to try it out and things like that. So all the Holy Priests have kind of changed over. However, there's still a couple of Holy Priests up there. I mean, the world number two Healing Priest is still Holy, so it's still definitely viable and playable. Overall, I think Holy Priest is still in a good spot. It hasn't changed at all. It's just everything else has kind of changed around it. But I think they're in a really good spot, and if you do enjoy them or want to get into playing them, you should absolutely. They're in a very good spot. Now, in terms of variants, you have a pretty standard set of talents, and anyone who's played Healer will have heard of these before throughout basically every expansion. They have a single target raid healing spec, an AoE raid healing spec, and a Mythic Plus slash dungeon raid, healing spec. Each build can be tailored slightly, but this is pretty much the core of what you're going to use. However, their damage profile does change slightly, depending on things like Divine Word and Imperial Blaze, which can turn Holy Priest into a little bit of a pumper, actually. So there is that. It does change a little bit between the specs. Overall, Holy is likely going to see a slight decrease in popularity just because people are going to want to at least try Disc. But it's still a fantastic spec. It's still very viable, and if you do enjoy it, it can be very fun just to press that Holy Word button and see everyone's health jump up to full. So fun, I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. It's probably one of the worst ratings I've given, but it really is just not the spec for me anymore. Viability, I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10. They're perfectly viable, more than playable if you enjoy them and want to play them. And variants, I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. There isn't much variety in their class or specs, but that's pretty standard at the moment. So, guys, let me know what you think of the Holy Priest, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.